Hey, Hans from Request for Music here. I made an update earlier where you could use um, stuff like a Gensec, and I'll take one off actually. I could use my Gensec, for instance, or any sequencer to drive notes from decks. And for that, you would use the pitch input, for instance, in Mod 1, and you would use the gate input from Gensec or any other sequencer into Mod in 2, and then drive the mono pitch CV and the mono gate CV. This mono pitch CV set to 1 to have exactly a 1 volt per octave, and the gate to any value but high enough to receive the gate, and then you would end up with notes like these where it would drive both of those operators. And if I have another operator on, it would also drive that by those inputs. All of the operators were driven. So that's all nice, but I wanted this to be more than that. So I created, first of all, an extra input. So you have a mod in 4. The only thing is that I couldn't do it in sequence to these because otherwise it would mess up any of the stuff that you would have in presets for wheel and bend. So it's on the end of the list. Nothing that I could do about that without changing or rearranging your presets. So I didn't do that. So for this next sequence, if I have indeed a next Gensec in there, I can now hook this up, pitch to number 3 and the gate up to number 4, and then use my number 3 input and my number 4 input. And for number 3 input, I can now change any of the other settings, because now I have, next to the mono pitch CV and mono gate, which still does it for everything, I also have an op1 to op6 pitch CV and gate, so you can drive every operator separately. But also I have a combination, a set of numbers 1 and 2 to be mono pitch CV'd and mono gated, and 1, 2 and 3 to be handled that way, and a number 3 and 4. So I have 2 sets. I made sort of a decision for you, so to stack 1 and 2, 3 and 4, or 1, 2, 3 as a combination, because those are the combinations that you normally have basically as the largest combinations within the algorithms. So let's take number 5 for instance, where I have 2 stacks. So I have my number 1 and I have my number 2 and my number 3 and my 4. I'm going to give these the same. I'm making them the same. So I'm using my Alt Shift click on the header on the number here, and then without the shift to copy it to number 3, and I do the same for 2 up to 4, so they are exactly the same. But now the second one, the second Gensec, is going to drive these. So these top ones, I'm going to change that to mono pitch for 1 and 2, and the mono gate for 1 and 2. And the next one is going to drive the mono pitch for 3 and 4, and the mono gate for 3 and 4. Still have to set this one to 1 to get it 1 volt per octave, and drive this on, and now dial this on. And now you can hear I have 2 sequences. Separately. And the nice thing, the nicer thing actually, is that numbers 5 and 6 are still unused, and they still listen to the polyphonic inputs. So if I just take some note in here, I'll dial this up and I set this as fast as well. So number 5 is driving, and number 6, let's drive that through the normal poly as well, and do that a bit slower. So and maybe take this out. So I could do something like that, and maybe even nicer if I let's reset this first. So reset, everything's reset, including all of the mod inputs, which wasn't done at the beginning, so that's changed as well. So if I now take something like, let's see, where I have one operator that is sort of driving a lot of others. So let's look at this, for instance, number 24, where I have number 6 driving 3, 4, and 5. I'm only going to use 3 and 4 for now. That's not that important. But I'm going to switch numbers 3 and 4 on and give it some volume. So, and I'm going to pan them to the side, both of them. Not that you hear that much, but if I give them some feedback, you might, if I change the one and maybe give this one another frequency. And now let's use number 6 and drive that. So it does that, but now instead of using it normally and drive number 6 by the polyphonic input, I can also take number 6. So I'll use number 1 input. I'll forget all about all the other inputs. I'm just going to use my gate input from my gensec. Take this one out so you don't see that that is not doing anything. So I'll take the gate input or the gate output from this going into mod 1, and I'm going to use my mod in number 1, and I'm going to drive my number 6 gate. So now it's hardly noticeable now, but of course that's because of this that needs to be set, and the gate that needs to be strong enough so it can drive number 6. So now you could have sort of a gated something like that. So and for the rest, I could also take the pitch output out, and instead of driving the mono gate, I'm now going to drive the mono pitch for number 6. So now it will change, and it's better to have a longer note now. And of course this is going to sound terrible. But of course there's no gate now, so that means that this is just receiving the pitch data. So you can do all kinds of strange and weird things with that by driving just one operator using either the pitch or the gate. So yeah, that's actually what this sort of a hybrid version between mono and poly means for decks. I hope you like it, and I'll see you back in the next video. Cheers for now.